Hello there, welcome to my series that teaches you how to use the source engine tool, Hammer. In this episode, I'll be teaching you how to make your first room. Before we actually do that though, let's go over the grid, camera, and some tools you'll need. Don't worry, it'll be pretty quick. Before we start, if you don't have the editor installed and set up like I do here, go watch the first video I made in this tutorial series. If you by some chance need help, you could always contact me through Twitter, my YouTube comments section, and via my Discord server. The links are in the description. Anyway, enough with the rambling. Let's begin. First, let's start with the grid. This is how you position objects and make geometry outline. You can select the size of the grid by clicking these two icons at the top left of your screen. Also, if you haven't noticed already, there's actually 3 grids on screen. Each grid represents a different angle, which are top, side, and front. If you want to change which grid is which, hover over the top left of the grid to change what selection displays. Now onto the camera. This is a view of your map, and you can move around in it like spectator mode in other Source games. To enter this view and move around in it, hover over it and press the Z key. You can use WASD to move around and scroll wheel to zoom in and out quickly. Anywho, that's about it for that, but let's move to some of the tools and what they are and how to use them. First tool is the selection tool. This is used to select objects in a level and move them around. You can select them via the camera or the grid, however you should definitely use the camera because it's way more efficient in my opinion. You can also select multiple objects by holding the control key and pressing left mouse on different objects. Next tool we'll talk about is the brush tool. This is used for creating geometry in a map, and it's way more simple to talk about than the selection tool. To make a brush, simply drag on the grid and make it the size you want it to be. You can also manipulate the size of it before you place it down, just in case you mess it up. Once you feel like it's the correct size, press enter to make the brush. The last tool we'll talk about is the entity tool. This has multiple uses, but for the sake of this tutorial, it'll just be a player spawn. Which, lucky for you, that's the default entity that will spawn in when you place one. But if you don't have what I have here, double click the entity, then change the entity class to info_player_start. And one last thing, let's change the texture we'll use for the brushes in the first room. To start, let's open up the texture browser, which should be on the left of your screen. Click Browse and find one you want to use. I'd just use Dev Textures because that's how my workflow works, but if you want to use something different, then be my guest. Once you've found the texture you want, select the texture by double-clicking left mouse. Then you can make your first brushes. But if you already have a brush or two placed, you could change it in 2 ways. You use the Texture Application tool to change the texture of an individual face, or you can press the button underneath that to replace all faces with that texture. Now let's make our first room. First, let's make a floor. Use the block tool to make a floor. Then use the block tool to make walls and the roof. Once you're done with that, place the entity in the box and set it to info_player_start. If it's already that, then just leave it alone. Now let's run the map. Go to the File button and press Run Map. You'll also press F9 as well. And you should be in the game. If you have any technical issues, then let me know in the comments. But anyways, I'll see you in the next episode of this series where we will cover basic lighting and props.
Bye-bye!
Throwing flashbang!